our distinguished guest. Welcome to Belgrade. Welcome to final session of this very important 2 days meeting with all of us and all of you, because we are we all think about same things, but we solve it on the different way.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, it is my great pleasure to greet you today in Belgrade. My name is Ivan Bošnjak, State Secretary in the Ministry of Public Administration and Local Self-Government. Organizers gave me this honor to moderate this session. Of course, I'm pleased that we are all here together with the same goal, that we are seeing the same problems and maybe we are resolving them in different ways. So accordingly, our first keynote speaker today will be Mr. Vladimir Cucic, Commissioner from the Republic Commissariat for Refugees. And the title of our today's session is Resilient Cities and Communities. Number 2, second part of the session. Vladimir, the floor is yours, and we will continue after that according to our agenda. Thank you, Dr. Bošnjak. Thank you, organizers, for inviting me. So I will be speaking in Serbian, okay? In 2008, 2009, no, 2006, 2007, 2008, I was involved in a program which was providing trainings, and we were trying back then to create municipalities resilient to natural disasters and man-made disasters. And this gave some results in some 20-something municipalities in Serbia. I remember that one of the fundamental elements we were studying were floods. Out of 20 certified municipalities, 16 took different various, according to their budgets, took various activities on prevention of floods. You wouldn't believe me, they didn't have any floods. Although from Sjenica to different, very problematic territories and problematic resources for protection. So precisely this, back then I learned, regardless of having things that you can, there are some things you can be prepared for, there are some things you cannot be prepared for. There is a formula for prevention of floods. And sometimes this still happens, but there's no formula for prevention of migrations, at least not on the local level. And migrations always happen as well. That's why it's both thankful and ungrateful to speak about this in front of you who represent those who took the main burden in Serbia, cities and municipalities. And on one, some 304,000 back, with the last big, first and second big moving of people, it happened back then. But because of the demographic potential, it did stabilize very quickly. But Serbia is one of the oldest countries in Europe. After the Second World War, we had the biggest natality rate, and we somehow recovered. But we are now in a situation with the country with very low birth rate, which will... We have a very difficult demographic image, and in 20-something years ago, this will take its toll. And we are not the only ones with this problem. More than 65 million people at this moment are in migrations. 65 million people are not doing this because they want to do this, not after their own will, not labor migrations. I'm not talking about when Filipino goes to Malaysia or when a man from Preševo goes to Belgium. Migrations caused by climate changes, wars, droughts, attacks, etc., etc. More than 95% of all those people who moved as refugees and internally displaced people are in undeveloped countries. Are in our neighboring countries. Turkey has more than 3 million people who are right now refugees from the neighboring countries, and also from some countries further away. We have Lebanon, Syria, and similar countries, Iran, a good part of Afghanistan, then a large area of sub-Saharan Africa, and also Arabic countries. They're all in a similar position, and this is all happening in economically undeveloped countries. In order to develop resilience, you need to have resources. These resources are always measured by money. Whether you want to do something or not, this is indicated by your state budget. Through budget, you are showing whether you are determined to do this. Through budget of the municipality, cities, the national budget. The Republic of Serbia has shown that in any respect, we are dedicated to this. Republic of Serbia built a system of the local action planning. I would like to thank people who wholeheartedly helped us with this. The Republic of Serbia is the only country who, with its low migration, established strategies on the provincial level, but also established the obligation to work on local planning for actions and to form councils for migrations. Councils for migrations are the state secretary Bosniak. He used to be a mayor of Zrenjanin. He was the president of the Council for Migration. He was able to plan the budget, to propose the budget. We tried to do this with all of you, and we mostly were successful, because this is a precondition for any further action. By planning this and by introducing this as a mandatory item in the budget, I know that you might not have expected me to talk about this, but I think this is a precondition, normative precondition, organizational precondition for anything that we are going to talk about. So if you have this item not financed from the budget reserve, but you have a mandatory budget item, if you have a council for migration, if you have a local action plan, and all of you mostly have it, somewhere it's more or less developed, and you have somebody dealing with this is Commissioner for Refugees and Migration, then you are on a good road to good path to being able to control whatever happens to you. 19 municipalities in the most direct way were affected by the migration crisis. From Preševo all the way up to Subotica, Šid, Sombor, Kanjiža, Kikinda. This impact was incredible. Many others couldn't cope with much smaller challenges. You have 50, 60,000 people in Greece, and you have incredible support. Support from the European Union through access to European Refugee Fund. And still, they are not getting by. You have response by our neighbors, Hungarians, who put up hundreds of kilometers of barbed wire, soldiers with firearms, but they didn't provide appropriate response. You have the response from our friends and neighbors from Croatia, which also wasn't, they haven't shown too much will to provide these people with any kind of proper conditions. And you have our response. The government of Serbia very clearly showed its response, and I think that the world appreciated this. But it wouldn't have been this response without you, all of you, without this police officer in Preševo who was kissing the child, or without my friend Mića who was throwing snowballs with the children in Šid. This would not have happened. Dedication doesn't matter, allocation of money. The state can allocate a lot of money, but it can spend it on putting up walls. But we are spending money by trying to improve the conditions in the local communities. We're trying to provide conditions for them. We are trying to, in any way, to achieve what happened. That these people, after 2 years, can say Serbistan is a good country. We got more than 1 million ambassadors all around the world this way. And I think that this type of resilience, when I came there, and my child was going to school there, all the children are covered with mandatory education, like your child, but like my child. When I came there, my wife gave birth. Then they gave me this, they gave me that. I did this, I did that, and this is a good country. You don't always have to have, I don't know how much money, if you have a good, organized, humane relationship. And Serbia does have that. Serbia had that. And I think that's a fact. And I think that this is something that Serbia, and all of us who live in Serbia, this didn't affect Serbian people. This affected Albanians as well, Bulgarians, Shobs, Hungarians, Croatians, Serbs, Bosniaks in Tutin and Sjenica. This affected everybody who lives in Serbia. But everybody responded in one unified way that Serbia can be proud of. And I think this is another quality that maybe is not talked about too much, and maybe we should not even talk about this. In Agenda 2030, which is practically something that all of you should organizationally strive for, strategically strive for. I think that this area of migrations, at least when it comes to, we will complete this through regional program, we will create apartments for refugees, for example. Tomorrow morning I'm going to Montenegro. We are talking about Skopje initiative to slowly resolve this displacement issue. It's not easy, so we're not pushing it, but we will be talking about this. We will resolve any day now. I don't know. We have returnees by admission coming to our airport. So with Germany, we're discussing this. Germany doesn't have the capacity, maybe even desire, to return all the people. Serbia accepted all its returnees by admission. We will resolve everything. We will resolve the migration crisis as well. We will, resolve it. We will live with it. That's it. When you build a house on the crossroads, you can help it. You're right there where you are. You're parked here. We will live with that. Different children, various children children will be listening about this in 20, 30 years ago as well. So that's how it is. And I think that we shouldn't create a big philosophy, big fuss about all of this. We should just be a good person. What we actually need and what we need to find an answer to, because this is reason and striving, is this question of